It happened on a Sunday afternoon. The kind of afternoon that smells like baked apples and rain-soaked leaves. My daughter, her husband, and their 2 children had come over for lunch. I'd made roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and my old apple pie, the one my late husband used to love. We sat around the table. The kids were busy with their phones, fingers tapping and faces glowing with blue light. I tried to join in the chatter, but I didn't understand half the words. When I asked my granddaughter what viral meant, she looked at me and laughed. "Grandma," she said, still giggling, "you don't belong here. This isn't your world anymore." The words fell like glass shattering. Everyone laughed softly, even my daughter, trying to make it sound harmless. But to me, it wasn't a joke. It was a sentence. I smiled, or at least tried to. I even nodded. But inside, something cracked open. I looked down at my hands, the same hands that once held her when she was born. The same hands that had rocked her to sleep, buttoned her tiny dresses, braided her hair before school. Now, those hands just trembled on the edge of the table. They kept talking. I just listened. The roast chicken had gone cold on my plate. When lunch was over, I quietly gathered the dishes. No one noticed the tears that slipped into the sink with the soap water. Outside, the wind was rising. The maple leaves brushed against the window like they were whispering, "It's time." That night, I sat alone in the living room. The house felt heavier than ever, filled with memories that didn't fit anymore. The clock ticked. The fridge hummed. The silence pressed against my chest. And for the first time in a long while, I asked myself, where do I belong now? If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, I wonder, how did you cope? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video if this part touched your heart. Part 2, what happened next, will surprise you. The next morning, I woke to a quiet house. The kind of quiet that makes you notice every little sound, the creak of the floorboards, the kettle sighing, the rain against the window. I sat by the kitchen table, a cup of tea warming my palms. On the wall was a photograph, my husband, smiling beside the old oak tree in our backyard. He'd been gone 7 years. Yet sometimes, I could almost hear his voice. "Don't fade, Mary. Don't let the world make you small." For the first time in a long while, I whispered back, "I won't." That afternoon, I took out my coat and umbrella and walked to the library. It had been months since I'd gone anywhere alone. The librarian, a young woman with kind eyes, smiled and said, "It's been a while, Mrs. Ellison. Looking for anything special today?" I hesitated, then said, "Something about learning. Maybe, computers?" She led me to a shelf filled with books for beginners. I borrowed one called Digital Basics for Seniors. That night, I sat at my kitchen table again, reading each page slowly. It felt strange, humbling, but also exciting. When I managed to open an email on my old laptop without help, I laughed out loud. The sound startled me. It had been so long since I'd heard myself laugh like that. A few days later, I joined a small class at the community center, Technology for Grandparents. We were 6 women, all around my age. We fumbled with phones, giggled over typos, and shared cookies during breaks. For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I felt seen. One afternoon, during class, a lady named Ruth leaned over and said, "My granddaughter used to tease me about not knowing how to text. Now I send her memes. She doesn't laugh at me anymore, she laughs with me." Her words sank deep. That night, I practiced sending my first text message. It took 10 minutes, but I did it. "Good night, sweetheart," I wrote to my granddaughter. she replied with a single heart emoji. It was small, but it was something. Days passed. I began gardening again, trimming roses, planting herbs, repainting the fence white. Every brushstroke felt like reclaiming a part of myself I'd forgotten. Neighbors waved when they walked by. Some stopped to chat. One of them, a man named Tom, said, "You've got a beautiful garden, Mary. Feels alive again." I smiled. So do I. That night, I made a list in my notebook. Learn something new every week. Visit the park on Sundays. Write letters even if no one writes back. Keep the tea warm, the heart open. And beneath it, I wrote a single line in bold letters. I belong wherever I choose to stand. If this story reminds you of a moment when you took back a piece of your strength, no matter how small, share it in the comments. Maybe your words will help someone else find theirs. And if this part touched your heart, please like and share it, it means more than you know. A few weeks later, it was Sunday afternoon, the kind where sunlight moves gently across the curtains, painting gold on everything it touches. I had just finished watering the rosemary when I heard a knock on the door. It was Emma, my granddaughter. She stood there, her phone in one hand, her eyes unsure. "Grandma," she said quietly. "I saw your message. I didn't know you could text." I smiled, wiping my hands on my apron. "I didn't either, not long ago." She stepped inside, looking around the kitchen. "It smells like your apple pie," she murmured. "I thought I'd bake again," I said softly. "Would you like a slice?" We sat at the small wooden table, the same one where I'd cried not so long ago. Now, there was the sound of spoons, the ticking clock, and the faint hum of a song on the radio. She looked at me then, eyes glistening. "Grandma, I'm sorry for what I said that day. About you not belonging." Her voice trembled. "I didn't mean it. I was just trying to be funny." I took a slow breath. The words I'd rehearsed so many nights came easily now. "I know, sweetheart. You were young. Sometimes, we say things we don't understand." She reached across the table, her hand warm over mine. "I didn't realize how much I missed you." In that moment, the air seemed softer. The weight I'd carried began to dissolve, like snow melting under sunlight. Forgiveness didn't come as a grand gesture. It came as a quiet letting go. We spent the afternoon baking another pie together. She took pictures of the messy flour, the golden crust, my wrinkled hands guiding hers. And when she laughed this time, it was different. It wasn't the laughter that pushed me away. It was the kind that pulled us closer. Later, after she left, I stood by the window watching the sunset fade into lavender and peach. The garden glowed. The wind carried the scent of rosemary and baked apples. I whispered to the silence, "I belong here." I always did. And somewhere inside, I felt him, my husband, smiling again. I made a cup of tea and sat down, the steam curling like a small prayer. The world outside was quiet, but my heart was alive, steady, peaceful, full. Sometimes, healing doesn't mean going back. It means growing roots in the same soil that once broke you. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe and turn on the bell. I post new ones every week.